two recent activity has brought the idea of killer domestic staff into the front burner. So if we recollect, this happened like a few weeks back in Parkview Estate, where the daughter of Justice Ajimogobia was murdered by domestic staff, and disguised, they brought the body outside. And the story was that still within that Parkview, in about a year, 2 other cases similar to that, killing by domestic staff has happened, robbery happened, and then Mariam took the story today of the caterer who was celebrating her 54th birthday and invited her people, her staff, to join her in celebrating, prepared the meal for them, and at the end of the day, they murdered her and took away some items, ATM card, jewelry, phones, and the topic of domestic domestic violence initiated by domestic staff has been brought up. And I would like us to discuss this. Maybe there are stories you've heard. How do you employ the right domestics? How do you maintain a good relationship with domestic staff? There's a Yoruba proverb that says, if something negative, for something negative to happen to you, there must be an inner informant that would support that happening. So how do we treat our staff well, or how do we recruit to prevent this happening? You can join the conversation by calling us on the numbers on your screen, 0810-7641-679, or you could tweet to us or put your comment on YouTube. So Nima has not had, I know that when you joined the show, right from time, you had a policy of no domestic staff. How has that been? I know in recent time you had someone come in and then out again, but I have always had domestic staff, at least for the past 12 years. Since I had my twins, I've had someone live with me almost round the clock, except during festive seasons when they travel. How have you coped? How do you manage, and what's it been like?
So I wasn't even expecting that you'd ask me first. This is something that is presently disturbing me a lot, because I had help in 2022. After we had talked about it, everybody had counseled that I actually needed one. And I thought, okay, let me just take the risk of allowing this one in. And you know the fear that I usually have, or that makes me, is the fear of the person not being real. The person pretending just to keep a job, and my family being at risk of that person, and me overexposing myself, which is why I keep a small home where I can handle things. Sadly, this person came in, I had trusted, I'd invested in her, because I don't want to bring someone into my space that I don't grow. I'd invested, counseled, put in everything, and everything was wasted. So you know how every time I think of that thing, the trauma that person has left, she might be walking around thinking, I've told everybody that knows her, nobody should come with her to appeal to me. And she must not be seen 5 kilometers around my gate. You know why? I cannot handle the betrayal of even relatives in my space, abusing it and going out. It means that I've become vulnerable to that person. One of the fears I had growing my kids was having someone in my space that I would leave my child for, even for an hour of a day, turning out to be dangerous to me or my child, exposing my child to any form of such evil. So I thought I would, scrutinize the person, and I thought, okay, everything will be done. And my sixth sense from the day I employed this woman just never rested. So a lot of times I caught her, I kept saying, Nima, it's you who is overthinking. It's you that have a problem. It's you that can come. So I would talk to her. And then she did something, I was like, there's something certainly wrong with this person. So I kept it open that as soon as another thing happens, she'll go. The first conversation I had with her, I said, I'll be strict with you going forward. This and this and this and this are the new rules. She just took a 360, wasted registration money for her skill, and walked away. And then people come, and they're begging on her behalf. They want to come. No, don't beg on her behalf. Because I had gone through several vulnerable situations. I thought, you cannot deliberately be like this. You are not. There's a reason I didn't take a child. I took an adult, almost 30 years old adult.
So that you are sure that you are not.
So that when we communicate, we understand. And I don't speak English when I communicate. As basic as the Yoruba language was, that's also the language I used with her. And what I got at the end of the day is something that made me doubt whether to try again, have someone in my space. It's a lot of work. God knows it. Housework, it's a lot. It's huge. I can never. Any woman that is doing it full time should be paid something huge. But it's so, the fear, the reason I don't have one is the fear of a person disguising in a wolf being in sheep's clothing. And in family space, you have freedom. This woman I never dished food for. If I go shopping, I'm shopping for her. If we slaughter anything, she's getting a part of it. If I buy rice, I'm selling, you know, you gave her access to the food you've cooked. My mother would say, there's a way they call it now, Chi. You know that kitchen, the pot of a woman. You know, Gunito, it's your space, it's your pride. I let her. I don't. If you come, take your things. Have you eaten? Have you this? Imagine me having that fear that something is going on there and finding out later it was possible that you were like that. I don't want that kind of thing. See the case in question that we're taking. Heartbreaking. There's no level of kindness you do to an evil person. There's no level of standard use, because I'm the one always judging Miriam. I don't want, you cannot be strict. You have to be a bit, see, we are reading the stories today.
She was nice.
It was nice. Okay, so I think the major problem is from we, the women, sometimes the expectations are so high. You get a maid, you expect her to just think like you, behave like you, but these people are coming from a place where there's no love. I think sometimes some of them, there's no love, and they are coming from a place where they don't have. So when they come, all they just think about is how to, you know, get from you or something. Then if they come and you are, no matter, I've seen a lot of people who have been very nice to their maids. At the end of the day, it turns out to be something else. And some, again, they will be so terrible to their maids. I see those two wherever. For me, I actually, you know, we always have one go that is sitting at home. Maybe she's not doing much.
Family. Yeah,
family. Those are the kind of maids I bring. And if you know, my children speak Hausa very well because of them. Because when they come, they help out in the house with the house chores and everything. So, but I've seen a lot. Me, once once I have a maid and you start annoying me, get to a stage where I will have to hit you, then it's time for you to go. It's time for you to leave. That's how I do my maids. But so far, I don't know. I can't really say much on this maid thing.
You've not had any negative experience like that?
No much negative
Mariam.
experience.
Thank God she hasn't, because we're talking of murderers here.
Yes, this is
She won't be here to talk about it if she has had the experience. So I think beyond how you treat them, how you need them, we're talking of people who, for me, I believe are criminals and have come into your home biding their time and waiting until they can destroy your life. Either, you know, if it's your property they steal, for me, which is the least of anything, sometimes they, you know, murder, maybe not you, even like a loved one that you have left in their care, you know, there's kidnapping, and that is what we're afraid of. So for me now, we're talking about the right way to get domestic staff, and also has to be with proper agencies. And these agencies, because I noticed one thing with these agencies, they are not agencies, they're just middlemen. They would have a place, and anyone that comes to them, they just churn them out to different people. They don't really know much about them. They don't know their history. You're unable to hold them if anything happens because they don't know these people. So I think in Nigeria, we need to rethink, you know, we need to rejig the system of employing domestic staff in our home. We need a situation where you come with all your information. I've been actually interviewing helps recently. I have been unable to pick one because of the stories in the, I think that has been in my head, you know, because I ask you a question, I ask you a few questions about your history. Either you're reluctant to explain it to me, or you're unable to give me something that shows me what we're doing at this time to this time. You know, for me, my hackles just get up. I'm thinking that there's an issue.
You tell lies.
So that is just me now depending on my intuition. I should be able to do more than that. I should be able to click on a site and put your name and your picture because you have said that this is the work you've always done. You have experience, and check who your references are and able to reach out to them. You know, if you're not, if the reason why you left your previous employer is not a criminal one, then you should be fine with me reaching out to them and just knowing that this is the person and, you know, you exist and these are the circumstances in which you left or you worked with them. In this time of, you know, this sort of stories, I'm so uncomfortable about employing one, but the thing is, I truly need help. It's been much easier, a little easier, because it's the holidays, you know. But when school starts, everybody's getting out, you need somebody. So I wish I had a go-go that can just come and sit down in my house, but I don't. And many, especially in Lagos, many people don't have that. You know, you've come here, 2 young people, you're starting your family, you know, it's hard. And then you started having kids, you want somebody to help you watch your kids while you rush off to school, because you have to make the decision, do I take my 6-month-old baby to a creche, or do I leave them at home with a worker that I hardly know, trusting an agency has done their job? So those are the questions for me. And I think that as a country, the justice system, the legal system, our police, we need to look for better ways to employ, more safe ways to employ our domestic staff.
So, you know, it's easy to talk about, oh, I was, maybe they stole from me, or they were being deceptive, but in this particular case, we are talking about murderers. How can you spot such cold-hearted people? I was discussing with someone who does real estate and agriculture like me, and then they have, what do you call it, they have cattle. And because they have heads of cattle, they have headsmen that were managing it for them in their house for generations. So there's a boy that she knew was born on their farmland. And so she brought the boy into our own business, and found out later that there was arrangement to kidnap her. So a call came in and said, oh, come to the farm, come to the farm. Madam, come to the farm, come to the farm. And she was like, Aspri just said she should not go to the farm today. So she now sent someone on her behalf, and that person was kidnapped. And so this is someone that grew up on their land. And the commercial now went on like, this person that was kidnapped, how did you know the person was coming? How did they now relay the person on the road? The now later said, no, we've prayed. The way to release is for auntie to come and pray too, just to still get the main person. And it was very heartbreaking, because we all felt that the conversation, we know these people, they grew up right in front of us. Are there things that we are missing out on? Could it be based on wrong company, or are there like red flags that can help you know that this person is being, you know, like they say, you're going into depression, or somebody are there things you can see? Maybe you see the resentment on their faces or something that might help you notice that it's time for this person to go.
It's black market too. Anyone, if you are lucky, you get somebody that is very nice. If you are lucky, or you go Nima's route, no maid at all. If you are going to get a maid, you are just going to you just have to you know, anything that comes, just take it like that. And just pray that this one will be a good one, because I've heard a lot of stories. I've heard a whole lot. There are some agents, what they do is, they will give you a maid, a very good one. You will like the girl will be there with you for a month, and maybe her salary is, let's say, 35,000. That agent can pull her out that month to another house that maybe they are going to give her salary of maybe, say, 37,000 or 40,000. You pull her out of that house and take her to the next house, and that's how you see yourself changing maid every month. Every month. If you change maids every month, you have different people coming to your house. Definitely, one day one thief will come inside now, or somebody that has spiritual problem will come. Definitely. You know,
when Nigerians go abroad, they don't have maids.
They survive.
They survive.
Their children.
That was an ideology, you know, so a scenario I was painting to my husband that, you know, a home runs abroad without help, but when it's here, it's a woman's duty to run it.
But some do.
But
some do. I've
actually can afford it.
Yes. I've been to
majority.
Yeah, majority
cannot afford even nannies. You know, my friend was talking about how if you are not above 6, you can't even get to their public schools. So you have to pay for a private school for your under 6 children. How she's overburdened. And I was like, all this thing that with the disrespect for her, with the my daughter started school at a year, 4 months. Go and start school. Don't go and shout, apple. You know, so because I needed a place to keep her. You know, those things that we abuse here. But what I'm trying to say is it works. We know dynamics of home. My own problem is my husband seeing housework as something that is...
He doesn't have the time to.
He doesn't have the time to. You know, but I make time. I run the schedule with the children. I do the school runs. I do that. And I make time to run. I cook the food every evening. If, as a partner, your own is so... do the laundry or the bath or pick the clothes. There was a day I dried clothes outside for 2 days and I went to see my mom. I came back on the 3rd day, it was dry.
I stayed there.
Dried well.
We wanted it to drive.
I came to pack my team by myself. I didn't feel happy.
Yeah.
But you know, with such assistance,
You know, this
you can
thing
actually
causes
do away.
is what causes a lot of breakup
actually do
with
away.
families that relocate as well.
Yeah.
Where
Because you know
when you move to that place and you have to do, men now struggle with having to do like a whole lot of house chores. But I want to come back to how to handle this domestic stuff that we bring our way, because they said that this story, according to what is on, somebody posted on YouTube, that the story of the caterer that got butchered was PA, driver, and one other person, that she got cash gifts. She actually got money. They saw that she brought in money 5 days before her birthday. So they knew she had money. And it also occurred to me, when I used to do makeup, I was in the car with a customer, and I was having conversation, and the customer was like, no. Like, we were talking in the house, and we entered the car, and I wanted to continue that conversation, and she was like, no, the driver is here. So she deliberately doesn't have some financially based conversations in the car or in front of staff, not because she cannot trust. It's not just about trust, though. It's about people don't know what they can do until they see. You might think I can overlook 10,000 naira or 20,000 naira until the person hears you have 10 million naira cash inside the boot. That's when you realize that a very good person can do very bad things. So preventing your,
So you had asked the question, everyone has answered about how do you tell. I feel that, like I said, you cannot tell. And even if you think you can, because some people will tell you, oh, I'm quite perceptive and intuitive, it should not be enough. Yes, there are situations where you have been with someone has worked for you for many years, and then the person turns on you. We've actually read stories like that. And when they catch them, they say, this man has been nothing but good to me and my family. I've been with this man 10, 15 years. I don't know, the devil fell upon me. Wow. But I feel that there's a recent trend of domestic workers going into homes, and within a month, they do things like this.
They can tell.
So, yes, so it looks like there's an organized sort of crime that's happening in this particular industry. And so this is where I was saying that the police needs to be involved. It should not just be left to my good judgment or my intuition to determine, or red flags to determine. My red flags, I've interviewed over 10 helps. I've not been able to employ anybody based on my red flags and my intuition. Maybe I've even let some good ones go. I wish I was able to have something more concrete to use for that.
I thought you can
register them at the police.
There was a man that used to come on our show a few years back when we were still in the other building that said he does background checks. Because I think he services drivers in multinationals and all those ones. So they do like a thorough background check for each of the employees. Know their, like, as far back as your village, your parents, and all of that. It doesn't guarantee that a bad person will not still turn out a bad person, but it just gives you a sort of level of protection. Another thing I heard was going to register when you employ. You know, you do like health check and blood check, but you can also, you not take them to the police station and they take their fingerprints and take their pictures so that they know that their fingerprint and picture is with the police. I haven't done it before. I just feel like it's
I've never gone.
We have to start doing it now.
You take them all the way to the police. I say, please stand, let me take a picture of you. So they know that a picture of them is taken. Front view and side view. I do that. I have not, which one? Nah, I have to say it in public. I've never had to go to the police to take it.
You're using agents now?
Yes, because I'm using agents. But you see that one that you also talked about. I'm not saying all of them, but I've also worked with agents like that claim they have done all this background check. Then something happens and they say, but... And then you realize, really, there was no background check, because for agencies also, the money is important for them. How fast they are able to send these people to workers is very important, because it takes a long time to do a background check. That's money for them that is just going. So those are the issues. That's why we need to make it a very licensed, properly organized industry, really, so that people can be...
That would be the ideal.
My advice is manage as much as possible to do your home. And if you can employ someone who takes it as a job, resume in the morning, closes at night,
Is that safer?
Yeah,
That one
I
is
think
worse.
it's preferable
They-
for me.
they
No,
steal.
because they will leave. They will do what they have to do and they will leave.
No, you watch. That's where you can monitor.
No, but they will steal, and then the
Let's
next
just
day in the
well,
morning.
this matter seems beyond our knowledge.
they
We
have
don't have the
murdered
technology
and
to
closed
back
for
it
the
up.
day.
Yes, now.
We will just have to leave it on a prayer matter. You know, Nigeria, when
Yes.
things confound you,
Leave it
you
to
will say,
God.
by the grace of
prayer.
God, you
God
and
will.
I, all of us watching and all of us in the studio, will not fall in the hands of killer domestic
Amen.
staff. In Jesus' name, amen. Inshallah. So that